Hello, welcome to Unfortunate Victims. I am your host, Investigator Chandra Cleveland. And today I am graced to have Miss Angela Vandelay with us from the BeSMART program. Many of you know who have taken my CWP classes about the BeSMART program because you received a card as a new CWP owner about your responsibilities of having a weapon. Angela is also the co-lead for the Midlands BeSMART program. Today, we're going to talk about gun violence, gun ownership, responsibility, and what you can do to make sure that if you're a gun holder, that your guns are safe in the environment in which you have, and especially if you have children in the home. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start with this conversation, Angela, because I know we have a lot of information in order to share, and I want to make sure that we use all of your time wisely to talk about the BeSMART program. So tell us a little bit, Angela, about the BeSMART program.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Chandra. It's great to be here. And basically, BeSMART is an educational program that's geared toward parents and adults, those who own guns as well as those who don't. And BeSMART is an acronym. SMART stands for S, means secure your firearms. Mm-hmm. M means model responsible behavior with your firearms. A stands for ask when your children go play at someone else's home, including relatives, whether they have unsecured firearms.
That's a good one right there. Woo.
It is. So even if you don't own guns, the BeSMART program is geared toward you as well. R is recognize the role of guns in suicide. And T is tell others to be smart. So we are trying to educate, as I said, parents and adults to follow these key principles of BeSMART.
And that is so good. I always say about the one that says to ask if the home in where your children are playing has a weapon. As you know, and I do, of the headlines that we have read in the past, and children getting hold of guns, and even during this time of the pandemic where mother was on Zoom, and her child got a hold of a gun.
I think people think that if they've gotten the gun hidden, that that's sufficient, but it is not. If children can find Christmas presents, they can find guns. And
exactly.
I believe that most children know where the guns are stored. And, you know, when they get older, it's just as important because, you know, their brains are not fully developed. You know, their girlfriend breaks up with them and they think the world is over. And, you know, if they have access to a gun, suicide is obviously, you know, a more straightforward way to accomplish that. And it's much more lethal than any other form of suicide. So just not having access to the gun is the key for, you know, children and teens.
Yes, because the numbers state at the Department of Justice that 60% of the adults who have a firearm, they are more likely to use the gun for suicides. And 60% of those deaths are by suicide. 60% of the deaths that we have in the US is by suicide. And that means these people were lawful gun owners.
60% of gun deaths in America are suicide, correct? Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And the other statistic that's, you know, important to realize is that 5.4 million American children live in homes with at least one gun that is loaded and unlocked. So the chance of that happening to a child is just so much larger with that number of unlocked guns.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. So it's not only good that when you get a gun that you just take it and try and hide it somewhere. You have to be intentional of locking it away, so that your children do not get to it, and also talking to them about it. We think just because they don't know and we hid something from them that they're not going to know. No, I think it needs to be a conversation about, look, we have a gun in the house. You're not supposed to touch it. You will not be able to get a hold of it. It is locked for a reason, and it needs to be explained. But how many parents actually do that?
A lot don't, that's for sure. I did want to also mention that if people need a gun lock, the local sheriff's department or police office they give away gun locks.
Exactly.
So,
that's what one of the things I was going to offer and say. Please at least get a gun lock on the gun. That will also save a life.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes,
so it's not just you don't have one. Well, you can get one very easily.
Very easily, for free. For free. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in the United States, I'm reading here, we have the highest percentage of gun ownership worldwide. It says that there are over 98 million gun owners in the United States. There are more guns than there are people in the United States, with over 390 million guns for 327 million people. That means that some people have more than one gun.
Absolutely. And gun ownership is a right. I mean, we know that the Second Amendment allows gun ownership as long as you are a responsible gun owner. But the key is the responsibility. With that freedom comes responsibility, and securing those firearms is so important. I did want to mention that we are working with the Richland County Sheriff's Department they're going to make a video of how to use gun locks, because sometimes, people might have one and don't even know how to use it, or how to use it so that they can access it when they need it. It does take practice. So they're going to be making a very short video that just shows how to use gun locks. So hopefully on their website in the near future that will be available, and probably social media as well.
That is so good, because I guess how long have I been a part of BeSMART, trying to get everybody to be a part of it, getting a video out there, telling people about BeSMART. It does my heart so good to hear that law enforcement partnered with BeSMART, and also the school districts. Tell me a little bit about the school districts partnering. That was
absolutely huge. Yeah. So we just in December formed a partnership between BeSMART and 8 school districts in the Midlands, 11 law enforcement agencies, and 4 hospital systems. And when I say the Midlands, we're going into Orangeburg and Fairfield and Calhoun, Sumter, and of course, Richland 1 and 2, Lexington 3 and 4. I think I named them all. So, it's the greater Midlands area. So the goal of the partnership, of course, it's an important, we've heard about guns being brought into schools. And so it's high on school districts' minds to, not have guns brought to schools. So I think the BeSMART program just is a perfect partnership for them to meet their goals of keeping children safe, which is exactly what BeSMART wants to do. And so each of those school districts, of course, has school resource officers. So they have a partnership with their local law enforcement already. So it was a really good way for us to partner. And the hospitals, they're the ones who deal with the trauma of, gun violence. So it was really just a perfect partnership to start working on this together. We just had our first task force meeting last week. I think it was last week. So we've got a plan for, how to start basically educating the community on BeSMART, on what the responsibility is for gun ownership. And we've got a variety of things that we're doing. Like I mentioned, the video that the Richland County Sheriff's Department is going to make, and the school districts are going to start using social media to get the word out, and find some ways to educate their staff. Staff has to do training every year at the beginning of the school year. So
Yes.
we're going to bring in BeSMART as part of that training. We hope that we will be able to, as a part of the registration process, when you're registering your child for school, sign an acknowledgement that you understand the importance of securing all firearms so that children can access them.
That would be awesome. That would be really, really great, because the headlines that we have been reading about the alarming rate of guns being found in schools.
Yes, we pulled some data together, and our estimation is at least 29 incidents where firearms were discovered on school campuses in South Carolina in 2021. So that's 29 times that a gun was found on a school campus where it could have been a shooting. And fortunately, it was discovered before that happened. We don't want to have a Parkland or a Sandy Hook in our community. I mean, on any community, but this is what we're trying to prevent with BeSMART, and hope that the parents and adults in our community can help us with this problem, help us stop and prevent gun violence.
Yes, because it's not just going to stop with BeSMART alone. We need everyone. We need law enforcement. We need communities. We need everyone who is a gun owner to take responsibility for their actions, because the pandemic, we thought, was something that everybody was really tuning into, but what we're really tuning into is the alarming amount of gun violence in America. The numbers are just the worst ever. It's the highest since 1986. So it's I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take, because we are not stiffening our gun laws, and we're making it more accessible. And I don't know what it's going to take in order for someone to realize, yes, we have our right to carry, but some kind of responsibility and accountability needs to be made for people who decide to be gun owners.
Right. And I also wanted to point out that this year, and I believe it is 2021 data, but it might be 2020. I'm sorry, I don't know which year it is, but it has become the leading cause of death for children and teens in South Carolina is firearms.
Yep, it is. It is.
Firearms.
Yeah. And so I did also just take down, because I know so many people are like, oh, you need to talk about the guns killing people in Chicago. Yeah, we know that poverty areas have always been known for a lot of murders and gun related issues, but in Chicago, they are not even on the top 5. They're not even in the top 10 per 100,000 people. On the highest states with the highest gun death is Alaska, Mississippi, Wyoming, New Mexico, and Alabama. Would not have thought of those things, but that's what it is. And then you go to the lowest gun rate. These states, of course, have stiffer gun penalties in their states, like Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Hawaii, and Rhode Island. They have the less per 100,000 people. But when it comes to the top 10 states, South Carolina always takes this place. South Carolina is number 10 for young people and the most gun death violence.
Yeah, it's really scary to think how many families are impacted by gun violence. people think it'll never happen to me. It'll never happen to my family until it does.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can't even imagine what it must be like to go through that as a family, to either have lost a child, to, have been through an incident of gun violence yourself. I mean, you're traumatized by that, even if you weren't the one who was shot, if you experienced it. So yeah, the trauma that communities are having to deal with when it comes to gun violence, it's tremendous. And so I just appeal to everyone to please, be a responsible gun owner. If you're going to own a gun, if your children are going to go to anyone else's house, we ask about allergies, we ask about a pool, whether your child can swim. We ask about all these things. We need to normalize the question, do you have guns in your gun? If you do, are they secured? It's a simple question, but people think they're too scared to ask it. But what's worse, something happening to your child, or, being a little bit worried about asking the question? So
yes, because I mean, for a child who does not even have the knowledge to get a gun and point it and shoot another child, you have a double trauma there. All right, shoot anyone. Now you have a child is a victim of trauma because the lack of your supervision and locked up gun.
Right. And I think a lot of people think, for teenagers, perhaps, my child goes hunting, my child knows what to do, I've trained my child. That's great. And I'm glad that they have supervised, access and trained on how to use the gun. But when they're not being supervised by an adult, they don't need ready access to that gun. I mean, look at the was it Michigan? The boy who brought the gun recently to school.
Oh, yes.
Right. He was given a gun for Christmas by his parents.
Yeah.
Complete. Yes. They wanted him to have it, apparently, and look what happened.
They did. Yes. And, it's more information coming out that they knew that he had a problem with bullying and the issue was addressed that morning, but they did not take him home when they knew that something could happen. So that's another responsibility of parents. You have to know, and now with the situation of the pandemic, we have so many kids that are hurting emotionally, that you as a parent, as a responsible gun owner as well, you need to know if this gun could be put into your child's hand, is not in reach, that your child is dealing with so much of what we're going through with the pandemic, that you do not have a gun readily accessible for them to use in any instance.
Right. Again, secure all firearms. I mean, it's a simple, responsible action that gun owners need.
Yeah, we think it will be sensible reaction that they should, but of course there was a report recently given that there were car break-ins in one weekend in one location, where there were like 30 something cars broken into, and 12 of those cars had guns in the glove compartment. People, you have to do better. When you're not in your vehicle, your gun should be with you. Do not leave your guns in the car overnight, because we do know that car break-ins are a possibility. Why leave them something to be able to use deadly force on someone? I think that it is normal to know that I would not leave my gun in the car when it's parked outside. Even in my driveway, I bring it in because that's part of my security. We need to start telling responsible gun owners, you need to do the same.
Yeah, I think you bring up a very good point. And it goes for criminals, it goes for teenagers. They're getting guns by stealing them from cars. So why are gun owners leaving their guns in the cars? It doesn't make sense. Now, there is a gun lock that can be, a gun, I guess it's a small safe that
Yes.
can attach to the metal part of a car seat. So I don't have any details about it, but I know that it exists, and you can lock your gun in a gun safe, a small safe in your car that a criminal could not break into. Not that that is ideal overnight. I still recommend they be brought inside.
No, yeah, I recommend they just bring it inside, because
However,
that gun box out of the metal that's on there, it still can be, they can just take the whole gun safe. So make sure if it's in a safe, bring it in.
Yeah, the gun safe has a special attachment to attach to the thick metal part of the car seat. So
okay, I got what you're saying.
The safe is secured to the seat. But, if you are out at a, place where you can't bring your gun in with you, that's when you need something like this. You don't just leave it in your glove box and go inside, because it could still be stolen. So that's the best use that I can think of for that type of safe. But yeah, if you're at home, bring your gun inside at night. Absolutely. And lock it up.
And Angela, the other thing is, know the information on your gun. Take a picture of the security number, the serial number that's on the gun. So many people do not have information on the gun that was taken. So therefore, you can't give law enforcement details of what make and model was your gun. We have to do better. I mean, we're just putting guns in the streets in the wrong hands, and it is killing people at an alarming rate, especially now when everybody is so unsecure of their future. So we just have to, that's why I had to have you come on and just talk about the Be Safe, BeSMART program, and let people know that we got to, absolutely, as gun owners, they say that we own, that there are 390 million. Jesus, that's scary alone. I did not know that. 390 million gun owners, more gun owners than people that are in this world. In the US, I mean, the United States, we just got to do better with stiffening gun laws. And I hope this makes people, especially in South Carolina, who loosened gun laws starting the end of last year, and then they wonder, why is crime so high? You gave them the ammo. You gave them the ignition to do this.
Right. Another point I wanted to make is, in the incidents of gun violence on school grounds in America, 75% of active shooters were current or former students. And between 73 and 80% of shooters under the age of 18 obtained their guns they used from the home or the homes of relatives or friends. So it clearly says that school gun violence is happening from students who are bringing guns from home or the homes of relatives or friends. So we have to secure our firearms.
Wow. People, if you have guns in your home, please go to your local law enforcement and see if they're giving away gun lots. We have so many people who are gun owners. And I know that many of you, they said the increase in amount of gun ownerships increased so much, and the numbers increased so much in 2019 and 2020. That is crazy. So if anyone wants more information about BeSMART, where can they go, Angela?
So we have a website. It's www.besmartforkids.org. So there's a lot of information on that website, including information about different types of gun lock, information about, how to recognize the signs of suicide, potential suicide. So www.besmartforkids.org. And if you would like a presentation, we have about a 20-minute presentation that we can give to community groups, community organizations and groups in the Midlands. You can email us at midlandsbesmart@gmail.com. Yeah, midlandsbesmart@gmail.com. And we can arrange a time to come give a BeSMART presentation. So we hope that you will help share. Follow the acronym. Again, S, secure your firearms. M, model responsible behavior with firearms. A, ask when your kids go play at someone's house whether they have unsecured firearms. R, recognize the role of guns in suicide. And T, tell others to be smart. So please help share this message so we can help protect our children and our community.
Thank you so much, Angela. All of that information will be tagged in this video so that you can get the information, you can request more information, and also just if you are a gun owner or know someone that is a gun owner, please share this BeSMART information with them. So together, we all can be safe for each other by being smart. Thank you so much, Angela, for your time of talking with me. I jumped onto BeSMART 3 years ago when you first announced it to me, and I am so glad to see the success of other people jumping on the bandwagon. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice talking with you, and I appreciate all you've done to help spread this message.
Thank you.